So in our previous class, we have seen what is accounting ratio, right? And why we need to study accounting ratio, and what are the account formulas or the ratios which we need to study in this chapter. Okay, that was introduction videos. From today's class, we are going to see the formulas one by one. So we have understood there are four major category of ratios. First one is liquidity ratio, then solvency ratio, then activity ratio, and lastly profitability ratio. Okay, so today we will see the liquidity ratio, right? So what are liquidity ratio? Liquidity ratios are those ratios which are which is calculated to know the short-term solvency of a business. That means in the shorter period, in the short terms, whether the company is able to meet its short-term obligation or not. That can be used by the supplier of raw material, because they want to know that if we are giving the raw material on credit, whether the company is going to repay for that or not, right? So the formula of first ratio, which is our current ratio, also known as working capital ratio, is current asset upon current liability. Now we have understood in the financial statement of a company chapter, right? We were understanding the balance sheet of a company, that what are the things which we include in current asset and current liability. So firstly, let's talk about current liability. We are knowing that in current liability there can be four subheads. First one is short-term borrowing. Short-term borrowing means the loan which we have taken and which should be repaid within 12 months. Okay, current liability means any liability which we need to pay within 12 months. So short-term borrowing is a kind of loan which we need to repay within 12 months. For example, that can be bank overdraft. Right? That was our first thing on current liability. Second one is trade payable. In trade payable, we include two things. First one is creditors and second one is bills payable. Third one is other current liability. Other current liability means any liability which is neither your creditor nor BP nor that is any kind of loan, but still you need to repay that thing within 12 months. Like that, there can be many things like outstanding expenses, like outstanding salary, outstanding wages, right? Outstanding electricity, all outstanding expenses are there, right? Like unpaid dividends, right? So these are other current liability. Now last one is our short-term provision. Short-term provision means provision created for a period less than 12 months. So that is one that you can understand is provision for taxes. We have to pay tax every year, so we create provision for that also, right? So if you have learned the format of financial statement which I told you in that chapter, this thing is easy for you, because you are knowing that in current liability there are four subheads: short-term borrowing, trade payable, other current liability, and short-term provision. No confusion. I hope current liability is clear to you. Now let's see what are the things which we need to record in current asset. In current asset, we are having 6 subheads, right? First one is current investment, inventory, trade receivable, cash and cash equivalent, short-term loan and advances, and lastly other current asset. Okay. Current investment means investment made for a period of less than 1 year. Current investment is also known as short-term investment and marketable security. But only if investment word is written, right, that is not a current investment. That will be considered as non-current investment, and then you will ignore that. Same way, if borrowing is given, then okay. If borrowing or loan only is written, that is what? That is long-term borrowing, right? If nothing is mentioned before any investment or loan, that will always be considered as long-term, not short-term, and that's why you need to ignore that, because you are considering only current types. Okay, I hope first one is clear to you. Second one is our inventory. Inventory means you are knowing that these are raw material, WIP, finished goods, like stock as well as loose tools, spare parts, right? But in the first formula, whenever we will consider inventory, we have to ignore loose tools and spare parts. That means alternatively we can say that we have to consider only the stock part, not the whole inventory. In inventory there is stock as well as loose tool, spare parts, lubricant, oil, etc. So you need to consider only stock. If inventory is given and these things are given, so you need to firstly deduct these things from inventory. But if only stock is given then there is no point of deducting. And these are given, so we will ignore that. No confusion now? Is it clear? So if inventory is given, you need to deduct these things. Okay? Right. Then next one is our trade receivable. In trade receivable, there are two things. First one is debtor and second one is bills receivable. Right? One thing that you need to keep in mind, that while taking debtor, if any provision is given, that you will deduct. Minus provision for doubtful debts. If that is not given, that means that is already deducted. Okay, then we have cash and cash equivalent. Cash means you are knowing, cash equivalent means anything which is equivalent to cash, like bank balance, check and other things. So only cash will be given or bank will be given, check etc. other things will not be given to you, right? Okay, then we have short term loans and advances, are the loans and advances given to employees of the company but for a period of less than 12 months. So if that will be there, it directly will be written as short-term loan and advance. It will not be given that loan given to employee. The same wording will be given to you, right? Last one is our other current asset. Other current asset can be anything like prepaid expenses, like accrued income, that is income earned but not received, like advance taxes paid. Same way other current liability can be many things also. Like matured debenture are also current liability. That are other current liability, right? No confusion now? Is it clear? Okay. So that is the whole thing related to our formula of current ratio, which is current asset upon current liability. Now, if we summarize this formula now, you don't need to learn actually anything. Why we don't need to learn, sir? Because we have already understood now. We have already learned that thing in that financial statement chapter, that in current asset there are these 6 things: current investment, inventory, trade receivable, cash and cash equivalent, short term loan and other current asset. That you have learned already. Yes. You have learned this one also, that in current liability there are 4 subheads, that is short term borrowing, trade payable, other current liability and short term provision. So that means we can say we don't need to learn these things. So if any of you have not learned the balance sheet, it will be good for you that if you learn the balance sheet one by one. That will help you in 2 ways. First one, to solve accounting ratio. Second one, to solve the question of balance sheet if it is given to you, if you are ISC student. No confusion now? Okay. Now, but that we have already learned. What we need to keep in mind, sir, is only one thing. That, sir, whenever we will consider inventory, we need to ignore loose tools and spare parts. And the second thing is, we need to take net trade receivable. That is, we need to deduct the provision for doubtful debts. That is the only 2 things that you need to remember. Because you are knowing what are the things that we need to include, that you have learned. So you need to remember only 2 things, that whenever we will take inventory, sir, we will deduct the loose tool and spare parts. And whenever we will take debtor, sir, we will take net debtor. Means if there will be any provision, that should be deducted. No confusion now? I hope the first formula is clear, right? Okay. So let's see our second formula, which is the formula of quick ratio. So our next ratio is liquid ratio. Liquid ratio is also known as quick ratio or acid test ratio. And the formula of liquid ratio is very simple: liquid asset upon current liability. Alternatively, instead of writing liquid asset, we can write quick asset also. Right? So formula can be quick asset upon current liability or liquid asset upon current liability. That is same thing. Now, sir, we are knowing current asset and current liability, but how we can calculate liquid asset? So that is also easy. Liquid assets are those assets which you can easily convert into cash. Okay, that's why we need to ignore those current assets which we cannot easily convert in cash. So the formula of liquid asset will be current asset minus inventory minus prepaid expense. Prepaid expense is the expense already paid, so that you cannot ask back from the people whom you have given, right? Second thing, inventory. Any business cannot sell all of its stock at any time they want. So that's why we need to know that one also. There is one more thing, that is advance tax, but that I am not given because that is also a kind of prepaid expense. And we are knowing the formula of current liability. What are the things which we need to include in liquid asset? Sorry, current liability, and what are the things we need to include in current asset? Here also in inventory you need to ignore loose tools and spare parts. That the way we are doing. Same for debtor also. We need to take debtor at net value. That means if any provision is given, that should be deducted. One more thing, we have understood the formula of liquid ratio as well as current ratio. There is one thing that is known as ideal ratio. Ideal ratio means what the ratio should be, or what ratio should be assumed as a good ratio. So for current ratio, ideal ratio is 2:1. So if any business is having 1 rupee, 2 rupees of asset, 2 rupees of current asset, for every 1 rupees of current liability, that business will be considered as good. And ideal ratio for liquid ratio is 1:1. That means for every 1 rupees of current liability, there should be 1 rupees of liquid asset. Why this is not good, sir? Because we are assuming this, now that all, even if why 2:1 is taken, because even if all the current assets are not sold, only let's suppose half of current asset is sold, still we are able to meet our all the current liability. No confusion, no? Okay. So that is the whole thing. So I hope the formulas are clear to you. Now let's see one question related to this. So it is given in this question that following particulars are given to you. We have some information and calculate current ratio and quick ratio. What conclusion do you draw from these ratios? Conclusion means we need to compare the ratio we got with the ideal ratio, and then we need to give judgment on it. Okay. So we have to, like, see, firstly what we will do is we have to solve the question. First we write the formula. So we need to calculate two ratios. First one is current ratio. So we can write the formula as current asset upon current liability. Now sir, here we will write all the current asset, and here we will write all the current liability. Right? No confusion. Okay. So let's see one by one. The first one is given as goodwill. Goodwill is our intangible asset, and that is non-current asset. We need to ignore that one. Next we have inventory of 250. So that we can consider or not? Yes, we can consider. But remember one thing, in inventory, if we have any loose tool or spare parts is given, we need to ignore them. Okay. So we have written current asset as 2,50,000. Then next information is our trade receivable 135 minus provision is 5,000, and we need to take trade receivable as net trade receivable. So we will take trade receivable as only 1,30,000. No confusion. Then next one is our investment, and that is written in bracket as short term. Let's suppose if that bracket information is not given short term, then we will ignore that investment, because if nothing is mentioned, that is long. But here it is mentioned that is short term investment 30,000. So we can write here as short term investment, right? And that is how much? 30,000. Yes. Write 30,000 here. Then next we are having is what? Expenses paid in advance. That is what? Prepaid expense. And prepaid expense is kind of asset for us, right? And that is current asset. So we can write here prepaid expense, and that is how much? 20. So plus 20,000. Then next we are having is what? Cash and bank balance is also a current asset. We can write here as cash and bank, and that is 40,000. Okay. Then next we are having is accrued income 10,000. Accrued income is something which is earned but not received, and that is also a current asset. So you can write here accrued income. That is 10,000. Okay. Then we are having short-term provision. Short-term provision is your current liability. So write here in the current liability as short-term provision, and that is how much? 20.
Yes.
Then after short-term provision, next we are having is short-term borrowing, and in bracket it is written as bank overdraft. In this chapter, normally bank overdraft is your current liability. But in the chapter of cash flow statement, that will be treated as non-current. But here it will be treated as current liability. Okay. So bank overdraft is our short-term borrowing 30,000. We can write here as bank OD. That is 30,000. So plus 30,000. Okay. Then after bank overdraft, we have trade payable. That is a current liability. We can write here as trade payable, and that is how much?
95,000.
Okay. And lastly, we have expenses payable. Expenses payable means we have to pay, but we have not paid yet. Right? That is outstanding expense. We can, that is also a current liability. We can add here as expense payable. 5,000?
Yes.
So that will be 5,000. Can you see how I am writing these things? Firstly, I have written the formula, then I have taken the current asset, current liability formula, and here the values. Right? This way we can do. No confusion, no? Okay. Now we can find the total current asset and total current liability. So total current asset is 4,80,000 and total current liability we got as 1,50,000. So we can do the calculation and we can find what will be our ratio. So that will be 3.2. So our current ratio is 3.2, or you can say that is 3.2 is to 1. That means for every 1 rupees of current liability, we have 3.2 rupees of current asset to pay. So that is good or not? Yes, that is good, sir. That is very good, right? No confusion. That is more than 2 is to 1. But you know what? Even if your business is having a higher current ratio, that could be bad sometimes. Why, sir? I can say this way also. That means that there are so much stock which is lying unsold. Means your business is not very efficient in selling the stocks. That means your business is not good. One interpretation. There is one more interpretation. I can also say that in your business there are so many debtors. That's why your current asset is more, your ratio is more. And that also means that you are not able to recover money from your debtor. Right? So why I will say you on credit? Right? So having a higher current ratio will not always good. That's why we only do not check current ratio. We need to check some other ratios also. Because alone current ratio can give you wrong information as well. No confusion. So I hope this is clear to you. Now let's see how we can calculate quick ratio in this. That is quick asset or liquid asset upon current liability. Current liability we have already calculated. We need to find quick asset. Now there are two ways. See, one, you can calculate quick asset by deducting inventory and prepaid expense from current asset, or you can only choose those things to write here. Means excluding inventory and prepaid expense, rest we can add up. But as we have already calculated current asset, what is the point of taking all the things? So what we need to ignore? See, current asset is how much? Sir, 4,80,000. If you see inventory, we need not to consider, so we will ignore inventory, so minus inventory. That is how much? 250, so minus 250. Then after inventory, next one is trade receivable, that we can consider. Short term investment we can consider. Prepaid expense we need to ignore. So we will do what? We will deduct the prepaid expense also. And that is how much? That is 20,000 rupees. So we can do what? Minus 20,000. So we have to deduct 480 minus 270. That will be 2,10,000. No confusion, right? Alternatively, you can do what? You can write quick asset equals to add trade receivable plus short term investment plus cash and bank balance plus accrued income. That you can also do. It is not necessary to write it this way. You can do that way also. No confusion? Okay. Now we are going to quick asset, that is 2,10,000 divided by current liability we are knowing as 150. 1.4 is to. Now you can say that yes, we can give them loan for a shorter period, because it means we have ignored inventory part. Still their ratio is more than ideal ratio. So that could be good if their debtor is not more. That is the only condition. One thing that you need to keep in mind, this balance sheet will always help you. Just keep this mind only for calculation purpose, for solving your question. Here we write what? Non-current asset and current asset. and this is our what? Total asset. Right? Here we write what, sir? Here we write equity, non-current liability, current liability. Okay? Two things. This is known as total debt. Okay? But alone non-current liability is known as debt. So non-current liability is debt and non-current plus current liability is total debt. Okay? Equity is also known as shareholder fund. Any confusion? Why this thing is important? Let me tell you. Like you wanted to calculate current ratio. So you need current asset and current liability. So in quotient it is not given. It can be given that this much is the total asset. So from the total asset you can deduct non-current to find current. One check. Second, this is also not given. Current liability is not given. But you have given equity is given and debt is given. So what we can do then? We can do one thing. Total of asset will be equal to total of liability. We are knowing total, we are knowing equity, we are knowing debt. So we can find current liability. That's why this mini balance sheet is important. So let's see one question related to this particular concept also. This question, we have given total asset, then land and building, then machinery, then non-current investment, then shareholder fund and then non-current liability. Now what we can do, see, we are knowing the total asset part, you are knowing we want what's the we mean C. Here we are having non-current asset plus current asset. In total that will be total asset, right? So if you are knowing the total asset and you are knowing some non-current asset as well, can you find the current asset? Yes, sir, we can find. How we can find? See, very easy. Current asset equals to will be total asset minus non-current asset. But we will write name of the non-current asset given in the question and see what we have given. First we have given total asset is what, sir? 12 lakh. So you can write 12 lakh here. Then we have land and building is non-current. So we can do what? Total asset minus land and building. The land and building is how much? Minus 6 lakh. Then next we are having is what? Machinery is also non-current asset. So minus machinery as well. That is how much? Minus 1 lakh. Then next we have is non-current investment. Non-current investment is also a non-current asset. So we will do what? Minus non-current investment. Okay, and that is given in the question as 1,40,000. Next information we are having is shareholder fund and non-current liability. So that is different thing, that is of no use. Now we can find our current asset. We are knowing current asset. Okay, no confusion. Now we need current liability as well. How we can find some? See, we have shareholder fund is given. We have non-current liabilities also. We are knowing here there are three things: equity, which is shareholder fund, non-current liability, and current liability. See one thing: total asset will be equal to total liability. So we can say that, sir, total asset will be equal to total liability, and from that total assets, you will say total asset or total liability. From that total asset or total liability, if we deduct from this total asset this equity and non-current liability, can we find current liability? Yes, we can. So total asset minus equity, but that is shareholder fund given in the question. So write the same words given in the question. So shareholders fund, and we need to deduct non-current liability as well. So total asset, this will be current liability. So total asset is 12 lakh. Shareholder fund is how much? 8,50,000 minus non-current liability is how much? 1,10,000. Okay, so that will be 8 plus 1, 9,60,000. So 12 minus 960 will be 240. Now we are doing current asset and current liability. So now we can apply the formula, and that is what, sir? Current ratio we need to calculate in this question. So we can write current ratio equals to current. Remember one thing, in exam never write short form, that is a kind of bad impression. Write the complete words. Current asset upon, don't write LIP. Okay, so current asset upon current liability. And that is what, sir, what is current asset? Current asset is how much? 360. And current liability is how much? 240. So that will be 3 by 2. Or we can say it as 3:2. Or we can say it same way 1.5:1. Right? So this will be our 1.5:1 will be our ratio. Okay. So I hope this is clear to you, right? In next class we'll see few other types of quotient related to current asset, current ratio and liquid ratio, and then we will move to our next type of it.